Okay, so tomorrow, September 21st, 2025, we've got our autumn equinox taking place. Then we've also got our second Virgo new moon of the year, which makes it a dark moon. And then on top of that, we've of course got the partial solar eclipse that is taking place at 29 degrees Virgo. Many of us are still recovering from the total lunar eclipse that occurred about 2 weeks ago in the sign of Pisces. It had a pretty intense impact on a lot of different people. This partial solar eclipse is now bringing an end to our eclipse season, and thus it's going to kind of bring some closure from this eclipse season and its themes. And essentially, we are meant to assimilate the changes that have taken place because of the eclipses and kind of externalize them and realign our identity and our sense of purpose to align with our inner self and our higher self. I am going to briefly go over how the solar eclipse tomorrow is going to likely impact each of the rising signs and the house that it's going to be occurring in. For more specific, detailed account, you're going to need to look at your whole chart and see all of the working parts and if there's anything that it's going to involve outside of your, just the house that it's occurring in. But okay, so to start with, we have Aries rising. For the Aries rising, this is going to occur in your sixth house. The sixth house is your house of health, wellness, daily rituals, routines, everyday lifestyle, and your habits, like in general. This eclipse is asking you to revise and edit some of those things, some of the habits that you have, some of the everyday things that you do that are not serving you or that are no longer in alignment with your intended trajectory forward. So it's really asking you to revise your lifestyle. It encourages you to do some reflections into what it is that you desire for yourself and your future, and find the ways that your everyday habits are not in alignment with that desire for yourself in the future. It may be calling you to initiate new, more supportive routines that will help you in your journey forward rather than hinder you. It may be asking you to take an honest look at your physical health and wellness overall and to prioritize it so that you're not engaging in a lot of self-destructive or unhealthy habits that will potentially impact you negatively in the future. For the Taurus rising individual, this eclipse will be taking place in your fifth house. The fifth house themes, of course, are joy, creative expression, romance, playfulness, children, your inner child, self-confidence, and authenticity. This eclipse may be calling you towards a new passion project or a creative endeavor in which you can channel your creativity in a way that is constructive. It is calling you to embrace your individuality and your unique identity and to cultivate more self-love and embrace new opportunities in regards to ways to find joy and romance. So you might find yourself encountering more opportunities or things that were unexpected in terms of romantic endeavors and creative endeavors as well. So it's really calling you to shine in your unique authenticity and rise to it and express it fully without restraint or fear, and to have the confidence to do that. So it's really focusing in on that kind of energy for you. For the Gemini rising individual, the eclipse will be taking place in your fourth house. This is your house of home, family, your domestic environment, your sense of comfort and safety, as well as your ancestral connections and even generational curses. It is really calling you firstly to nurture yourself and to protect yourself in your inner sanctum. It can be calling for you to act as a caregiver for someone important in your life. And it really kind of has a intention to call you towards enriching the relationships that you have with your immediate family or the people that you live with or the people who you are closest to in your life, really enriching and nurturing those relationships with those people. There's also a possibility for changes to occur within your home environment. So you may be looking at possibility of moving or redecorating your home, or any number of changes that could take place in the actual environment of your home. So just keep that in mind. For the Cancer rising individual, this will be taking place in your third house, which is the house of communication, social interaction, intellect, learning, and curiosity. You should expect to have an influx of new ideas or information that is made available to you for you to intake and integrate, as well as new connections and social encounters with people that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise expected. You may be building social connections and interacting and sharing information with others during this time. It's also calling you to release any of the perspectives you've held on to or opinions that you believe in that are outdated and that no longer serve you or have a place in your life like they maybe once did. You can pretty much expect that there may be changes that take place in terms of the shifting of your overall perspective of things. And you can also be on the lookout for changes or shifts that might take place in terms of like things involving your neighbors or your relationship with your neighbors or your siblings, or your community really, and things like your car or mode of transportation, technology, like your phone, computer, things like that, GPS, your classmates, the type of information that you're intaking and where your curiosity is leading you, and the way you receive information and work through it and analyze it in order to utilize it in your everyday life or whatever. Those things can be subject to change right now. For the Leo rising, this eclipse is taking place in your second house, which is your house of value. It includes your values, your self-worth, your assets, your finances and money, your priorities, your possessions, and investments. This eclipse is likely to ask you to reconsider what it is that you see as valuable or having worth to you. It may also be calling out the different ways which you spend your resources, like your money and your time and, things like that. It's asking you to take an honest look at the priorities you've got, your values, and how those don't align with, in any way, that they don't align with your, ideal future self, or for your inner truth, what it's leading you towards. How did the things that you are investing in, or how are your values not anymore in alignment with that higher self and your inner truth? It may also be bringing to the light the ways in which you are seeking out gratification and pleasure in things that are temporal and that are materialistic in nature. And maybe it's calling you towards revising and reconsidering and exercising a bit more moderation with those indulgences. For the Virgo rising individual, this is going to take place in your first house. This is going to impact you most likely the most heavily, because your first house, of course, in your ascendant is your self-image, the relationship you have to yourself, the characteristics and qualities that you have, the way that you approach things, and things like that. It's all about you. So this eclipse is likely going to be asking you to take a true, honest look at yourself, at who you are, like your identity, and the ways or the things that don't serve you or that you struggle with and are at odds with about yourself, the things that you don't like about yourself, the ways that you might, be a bit self-destructive or project a image of yourself that's not in alignment with who you are as a person. It's asking you to revise these things and to really ask yourself, who do you want to be? Who are you and who do you want to be? It is giving you the opportunity to start with a blank slate and to rewrite your version of who you are and to rewrite your whole story as you see it. It's also about honoring yourself and committing to the things that you hold as important for you, to committing to those things and seeing them through as an act of service and love for yourself. During this time, it is possible that you will start to seem a bit aloof or self-reflective, and that can sometimes cause a little bit of confusion or conflict for the people that you are encountering in day-to-day life. So it's important to also keep your head in the game and try to balance that introspection with interaction and empathy, and not get too self-absorbed in in your reflections and your considerations of how you need the changes that you might need to make, that you forget other people. For the Libra rising individual, this is going to heavily impact you as well, as it is taking place in your 12th house. The themes of the 12th house involve our unconscious spiritual foundations, our self-sabotage, delusions, escapism, karmic baggage or unfinished business, hidden enemies, surrender, and sacrifice. This eclipse is going to most likely be bringing to the forefront a lot of the patterns and beliefs that you hold and that are intrinsically part of you, many of which may be subconscious in nature, bringing those to the forefront for you to observe and kind of sit with a lot of the emotions and things that you repressed or traumas that you haven't dealt with, how those have kind of impacted the behavioral patterns and belief systems that you now have. It really wants you to heal from these and to learn to integrate them into your conscious mind and into your everyday mindful action. And for you to let go of many of the things that you are engaging in that are self-destructive and forms of self-sabotage or self-harm that also spring from these, repressed hidden traumas and grief and whatnot. It's time to let go of the past burdens and the shame and the guilt associated with some of the past mistakes that you maybe have made. It could potentially lead some individuals towards new avenues for optimizing their mental health and sense of clarity and their, perception of reality, because this is really going to highlight mental health and our subconscious behaviors for the Libra rising individuals. With this eclipse being at 29 degrees of Virgo, which is the last degree, it is on the cusp of Libra, like just 1 degree away from. So it can also potentially bring more clarity about who you want to be and how you want to project yourself out into the world and who you are. So with that, what this eclipse is likely going to be bringing up for you is taking an honest look at some of the things that you have not wanted to have a look at, and some of the things that have been very painful and traumatic for you in your life, and the ways that they have impacted you and your everyday activities, everyday thought patterns and behaviors and perspectives, and how those things maybe don't serve you in the long term, and how those things maybe are sabotaging you, and then figuring out how you can integrate that pain and turn it into purpose so that you can move forward into the person you want to be and project the energy you want to project into the world, getting rid of some of the delusional beliefs and some of the illusions that you've created for yourself. For the Scorpio rising individual, this eclipse is taking place in your 11th house. The 11th house themes involve friendship, like social groups and your wider social circle, your place in society, networking, activism, your bigger vision for the future, the big picture, and like your greater aspirations. So with this eclipse, there is a possibility for encountering new potential friendships and a new community to involve yourself in and immerse yourself in socializing and creating a sense of community and brotherhood with others. It is also asking you to take an honest look, an inventory of your habits and things, especially involving friendships and, communities and social circles, and how you may be potentially not optimizing your potential with that stuff, and then making the adjustments necessary in order to be able to fulfill those aspirations that you have, the big picture plans for yourself. For the Sagittarius rising individual, this eclipse is going to take place in your 10th house. This is your house of career, ambition, success, legacy, work ethic, self-discipline, and responsibility. So you'll be likely to see things involving those themes coming to the surface to be addressed and reevaluated. It's asking you to take a hard look at your responsibilities and the ways that you are filling those or potentially avoiding them. It's asking you to reevaluate the things you want to be known for and remembered for, and to reevaluate your overall career path and your life's work. It is possibly asking you to apply more discipline in certain areas of your life, especially when it involves career themes. It may also be asking you to stop taking on the responsibilities of others and to create more work-life balance within your life. For the Capricorn rising individual, this will be taking place in your 9th house. This is the house of higher learning, of expansion, of adventure and exploration, luck, abundance and prosperity, and your direction in life, your life purpose, finding the deeper meaning in things, and your spiritual journey, as well as your religion. So as such, this eclipse could possibly be bringing those themes up to the surface for you to take a good look at. It will likely ask you to leave your comfort zone and to wander out from your comfort zone and to explore and find a sense of adventure in order to expand your horizons and broaden your perspective. It may ask you to take a deeper look into things and to find meaning in the mundane. It may also be asking you to revise your belief systems, your system of ethics, and your religious beliefs or affiliations or whatever. It can also encourage you to do something like seek higher education or instruction, or even to travel somewhere new and different, and to cultivate a sense of adventure and a sense of novelty and experience. For the Aquarius rising, this is another sign that's going to be experiencing this eclipse pretty heavily. It's taking place in your 8th house, which is the house of loss, death, transformation, transfiguration, rebirth, shared resources or inheritances and wealth that is from someone else, kind of, and intimacy. This eclipse can dig up some darker parts of yourself and your psychology and things involving power dynamics or your need for control, as well as trust issues that you have and secrecy. It will bring a lot of that kind of stuff up to the surface for you to take a look at and to revise. And ultimately, this will lead to a transformative experience in which you are able to move forward feeling refreshed and reborn. It is, in a sense, kind of asking you to learn how to be more vulnerable and seek a deeper, more intimate connection with others. And finally, for the Pisces rising individual, this eclipse will be taking place in your 7th house, which is your house of partnerships, relationships, commitments, contracts, litigation, and things like that, as well as open enemies. So this eclipse is going to specifically be asking you to take a hard look at your very close personal relationships, bonds, and connections, and the ways in which those may or may not be serving your best interest for your future, and the ways in which they may be negatively impacting you and causing you hindrance rather than support. It may be instigating a time of new beginnings and be a catalyst for you to meet someone that you will be forming a very strong and important connection or partnership with for the future. It may be paving the way for that to happen. It can also be calling for you to reclaim your power in any interactions or dynamics in which you have given that power away and have allowed yourself to be kind of walked over or your boundaries pushed. It's time to reclaim that power and to set a more solid and definitive boundary that can't be crossed any longer. This can also bring significant changes and potential conflicts with people who you consider to be your rivals or, open enemies, that people that are your ops, basically. You could potentially have some kind of either breakthrough in which you kind of squash the beef, or a conflict, which could also still lead to a resolution, but it just depends on how you use this eclipse energy and what you integrate versus what you push away. And with this being in your 7th house, there's a lot of give and take, and it's really asking you to create a very balanced harmony between all of your relationships, between yourself and nurturing yourself and tending to your own needs and self-care versus doing that for the people that you are close to in those relationships and not losing yourself in providing for them or being attentive to them either.